This is kind of a fundamental. We're gonna make some chicken soup. Regular old, just classic chicken soup. Nothing fancy, no Thai spices, no coconut milk, nothing crazy. Just regular old chicken soup. Somebody asked for this recently, so it seemed like an appropriate thing to do. You know, everybody should know how to make a really awesome chicken soup. And we're gonna do it in a way where we leave it so you're free to add rice, or noodles, whatever the heck you want at the end. I've got a chicken. I took the little pack of giblets out. We don't need it for chicken soup. I'm all for eating chicken livers and hearts, but this is just a whole chicken. It's gonna go into our pot, and I already gave it a rinse, and we're gonna fill it up. This is a 2-gallon pot, and I should be able to fill it just enough to cover the chicken and float them. Okay, my chicken is in the water. We put salt in it. It's been on the stove for a while, and I'm just waiting for it to come up to a boil so we turn it down to simmer. It's really full. You know, my pot is very full, so I want to make sure that I don't miss it and boil it onto the stove, because then I have to clean it up. You're going to get some of this foam at the top. It's just, you know, skim it. You could leave it, but, you know, just a little bit of impurities and whatnot from the chicken. If you want a clearer broth, you want to skim this off, and then you also want to go pretty slow with it, because if you're boiling it pretty hard, all that fat will, you know, get boiled into the meat and kind of cloud it up. So I'm not going to kill myself over trying to, you know, skim it, but, you know, we'll clean it up a little bit here and there. Veggies. You could have cut them up right now while you're waiting for this to go. It's not like you have to have everything ready, because you've got a lot of time here, because even after this comes up, it's going to just be chicken cooking in the pot for like an hour before we go veggies. Carrots, celery, onion, smashed clove of garlic. They're about, I don't know, I'd say like in the neighborhood of like a half-inch dice or so. I used baby carrots, so there's some pieces that are like rounds. And then, you know, some of the bigger pieces I ended up going into more of a dice. But, you know, whatever. I just want them to fit on a spoon, because I'm not going to strain them out at the end. I'm going to keep my vegetables in there. And with just carrots, celery, and onions, it leaves things really neutral, so that if I wanted to add to it when I reheat it, like say I wanted to go some cilantro and, you know, diced cherry tomatoes and some jalapeno and like a squeeze of lime and some avocado, I could do that without, you know, this being overwhelmed with like thyme or sage or any of those like poultry herb bouquets that they sell on the market. You could go that way, and that's cool, but then you can't, you know, go like chili and lime with it, or go like ginger and sesame with it. You know, as a neutral soup, there's a lot that we can do with this at the end when we heat it up. Okay, so this is going at a speed that I like. We've got some kind of gentle bubbles. It's not like we're poaching it, like there's some movement in the water. Nothing crazy, just like some gentle bubbles. So this is what we're looking for. We'll go for like an hour, and then we'll take a look at it. We'll probably add some vegetables. You see, like, got a big pocket of fat forming here. I'll probably come around and skim those later too. All right, the chicken soup's cruising along, and it's been 30 minutes since, you know, we set it to a simmer, and you can see it's kind of like sticking up out of the water. It's just because it's floating, but I'm going to flip them over. Yep, just going to flip them over. It's going to keep going another 30 minutes, and we'll probably add our veggies at that point. Okay, so chicken soup. It has been simmering for about an hour here, and I'm going to add the vegetables to it. I'm going to turn them over again, just because. And, you know, I've lost a bit of liquid, and I am not going to add more liquid to it. I'm going to add vegetables. Oh yeah, garlic clove. I want them smashed. Releases flavor. All right, carrots, celery, onions. It displaces a little bit of liquid, so it brings things back up to the level of the breast. And then I want a few peppercorns, maybe like 10, I think that was 7, 8 or 10 peppercorns. And I'm gonna bring it back up to a boil, turn it down to a simmer, and we're just gonna let this go for like 45 minutes and, you know, get the veggies all tender and get all their juices extracted and develop some flavor, have some reduction. It's chicken soup. It's kind of a back burner project. All right, I'll see you in a little bit, and I'll just kind of give you a gauge of like what speed we're moving at, but it's gonna be the same as before. Okay, here it comes, back up to a boil. And move things around. Make sure there's, yeah, everything's swimming. That is good. And slow everything down a little bit. That still looks fast. All right, so I like this speed where it's basically like there's like one pocket, like where the heat kind of opens up one spot and it just kind of simmers from there. And I'm just gonna let this go probably for like an hour, and then we'll take it from there when we get there. Okay, our chicken soup has been simmering here for an additional hour with the vegetables in it. I hit it with a little bit of salt earlier, just kind of walking by, I tasted it. Taste things as they're cooking, you know, taste how they develop. I'm just gonna give it kind of a nice big pinch, maybe 2. And I'll mix around a little bit and I'll taste it. So one of the things we're looking for, obviously after cooking this guy for 2 hours, it's gonna be tender, but you can feel like how much give is in the leg. Like you just twist a leg off at this point. Cool. So that's got some good salt in it. I'm gonna turn it off and let the chicken just hang out in the broth, you know, cool off a little bit in the broth before I try and take it out and pick the meat off of it. Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it up here. All right, chicken, let's get you out of the pot. Soup, it's been hanging out for like an hour, and I'm just gonna take the chicken out and put them on the sheet tray. And I lost both of the legs. Super tender, falling apart. This is the way it should be. There's a wing, here's a wing. All right, so I have just the broth with the vegetables in it. I'm gonna go ice it down. This is also a good time to taste it and, you know, see if you like the salt in it. I'm gonna go a little more. I know I've been using like kosher, but pink Himalayan's cool too. So I'm just gonna bring up the salt a little bit. You can always add a little bit more, you know, when you heat it up and you go to plate it. But just to give it more of an opportunity to have like a smoother kind of salinity versus that last minute salt that just makes it taste like salt. All right, I'm gonna go ice this down. We still have like tons of snow on the ground, so I'm just gonna stick this in the snow outside. The easy way, haha. Okay, so I have to decide, is this too hot to start picking apart? Because if it's real hot, it will just dry out as it sits here, so I might decide that I want it to cool off a little bit more. But basically I'm gonna remove the skin. Actually feels okay. It's not that hot. And I'll basically just kind of make a pile of the stuff I'm not gonna keep and the stuff that I am gonna keep. So if I start here with a leg, we need a second camera. Yes, we do. I'm gonna set one up. I'll do this leg first, but I'm gonna pull apart like the meat, and I'm trying to keep it in like, you know, nice pieces. I don't want to like mash it all up. I can, come back around after I have like main big pieces, like, take it off in big chunks. And then we'll come back around and make it more spoon sized. And as you take the leg apart, it'll kind of break off into, the bigger pieces, and it'll give you a chance to take out like the fat and any of the little connective tissue in between those, big chunks of meat. You gotta get your hands dirty here. Don't be afraid. If you need to wear rubber gloves, go for it. If I were in a restaurant, we probably would be. But this is for us, the family. My hands are clean, it's cool. I'm not gonna save any of these bones or skin. They have kind of, their useful life is over. I know I said I was gonna set up a second camera, but my hands are working. They're just working, they're doing the thing, pulling this wing apart, getting rid of the skin. So here's, another leg. This is basically the thigh right here. Nice big chunk of thigh meat. Get rid of some of the fat. There's always going to be a good amount of fat like interlaced inside all the meat in the thigh. So slow down and take it out if you want. It makes it so it kind of eats a little nicer when you get to the bowl. You won't have any of those weird stringy, fatty bits. Unless, you like those, then keep them. I mean, it's a pretty quick thing. This meat should be like just falling apart without being like, overcooked or anything. And then the breast and the back. There's actually a ton of like really good stuff along the spine, so I'll get to that later. It makes kind of a mess. And the breast has the sternum right here, and you can really just split it apart. And then we've got a nice piece of breast that we can, trim down, cut up, make it spoon size. Wishbone. And then the other side. And, taking apart chicken that you've made soup out of, like if you've never carved a whole chicken or a whole turkey, kind of give you some insight into how that anatomy works. Cool. And then the back of the bird. There's good meat back here. Take the skin off, and like a bunch of shoulder blade muscle here, scapular muscle. Got the oysters from where the thigh's connected. This is a great little nugget of meat. But there isn't really no wrong here. Just take your time and pick through it and find all the goodies. Waste nothing. So this is the whole bird. Look at all this food that we got off of this one chicken. It wasn't even that big of a chicken. But I have a ton of meat. It's kind of incredible how much meat came off of the animal when you really get into the back and like the whole thing. Nothing's wasted here. It's really tasty too, like even the breast meat. Great flavor, super tender. I'm gonna just go put this in the pot and ice it down. It's sitting out there, it's gonna be cold quick. To ice down your soup, you should always ice it down, fill your sink up with water and a ton of ice, and just stir it, get it cold before you put it in the fridge. Do not put a hot pot of chicken soup to cool off in the fridge. That would not be the right way to do it. Anyway, I'm gonna cool this off, and then I guess tomorrow, because it's already like 9 o'clock right now, we'll make chicken soup, and maybe we'll do it a couple different ways. We'll see what I'm in the mood for. We made chicken soup. It's been 24 hours later, and I believe that chicken soup is actually best if it has a little bit of time to sit and hang out. I ended up with 2 containers like this. So last night, after everything was cooled off, I took chicken, veggies, put some in here, distributed my broth and everything equally. So I got 2 like this. And it's pretty gelatinous. Like you can see how it jiggles. I wouldn't expect it to be as gelatinized as like chicken stock or something, or like bone broth. But I do expect some gelatinization. We're gonna go 3 different ways. We have this neutral base. We're gonna go chicken noodle soup, we're to go a chicken soup with ginger, garlic, scallions, sesame, and some Thai basil. And then we do another variation where we take this same soup and we add some rice, avocado, tomatoes, jalapeno, garlic, and cilantro, and a squeeze of lime. So 3 different variations out of one basic, simple, classic chicken soup.